They say you can measure a smile, but never the story behind it. Some were born from joy. Some were built from survival. Listen closely.
All right, welcome to the show. If it's your first time here, this is where I connect a bunch of random things. And if you've been tuning in, thank you. So today I'm going to connect The Alchemist, the book. I'm going to connect Inner Workings. It's a short animated film by Disney. And I'm going to connect a project that I worked on with my friend Sketch83 in 2017. It was called Your Heart Won't Mind, because that's what I want to talk about today. So just recapping this week, this, I believe, my sixth, I'm looking at a calendar, my sixth or seventh consecutive day recording. And I'm excited about the start of the podcast. I'm going full steam. The heart is excited. It wants to get into it. And the mind is a little bit on the overthinking side. Because I've launched projects like this before. And I start full steam and I'm adding all this to the calendar and trying to get the episodes done and all that. So I've been here before. And right now I kind of see that tug of war happening between the heart and the mind. And so I wanted to talk about it. And I wanted to connect these projects together, because I think they'll make sense at the end of the episode. And I do want to, read off some of the notes. That has been working a lot in the past. Like, my heart wants to lead with, spontaneous, like, chat on the episode. And the brain is analytical and strategic. We should frame it out. And rightfully so, right? Because, the book, it's got to be organized. It's got to be organized in chapters so that it makes sense. There's some books that are created where you could just flip to whatever page and you could pick up from there. But for the most part, if I want to share a story on the heart and the mind, then I got to strategize it. But let's talk about the heart a bit. So I have this art piece that I'm recalling, this illustration that I created probably in 2015, 2016. I was doing a daily sketch of the happy Monito, and I drew him with a heart sitting on his lap, and he's paying attention to the heart. So it's like the whole listen to your heart. Cheesy, I know, but we do that. We do a lot of that. And sometimes the heart, is excited, wants to just jump into things, and it's not thinking. And so when drawing that, I was excited about jumping into illustration and sharing that, publicly and online and all that. And the mind, started getting in the way after that, because I started learning about social media. And, social media is still it's still pretty new. I first joined social media in 2005. No, probably a little before then. But, from a business standpoint, I started using it for projects like in 2013. And so immediately I started, reading up on, how do you market a project or a brand or anything online. And so you start thinking of social media, not from a social sense, but from a, how could I get eyeballs on what I'm working on? And so the mind started getting in the way of creativity and, how many times I would post, how often. And, I started, doing a lot of strategy around the brand, okay. So let's get into inner workings, so I'm talking about the heart, being in battle against the mind. And you see this in this movie. I'm going to put it here on my right, your left. So if you're listening to this, you might want to go to video or try to check it out when you get a chance, so that you see the movie poster or whatever. So you could go check it out online. I think it's on YouTube. I think you got to pay for it, and you might find it that it's free now. I don't know, but I remember paying for it as like $1 or $2, and it'll be worth it. 'Cause I think it's something that, as adults we could tune into, but also sharing that with our kids. If you're a parent, I'm a dad, I would share that with Bellica. I think it's super important for them to see that battle between the heart and the mind, and know which one to follow and at what time, right? And so, anyways, you go. Once you check out Inner Workings, you'll see there's a character there, and you could see, the inside, the organs, inner workings, and you're gonna see the heart and the brain battle it out. And I've researched the whole brain and mind, like I was like, was the brain the mind? Is it right? And the brain is basically the hardware. It's the computer, and the mind is the software, what runs in it. And so you'll see this character have his inner parts, the heart and the brain going at it. And the heart is excited. The heart wants to jump in to, adventure, wants to eat, the delicious food. And the brain is always playing the software of, what that decision might lead to. And so you should check it out. There is resolution at the end of the movie, and I think it's pretty awesome if you find some meaning in it, but also share it with the young ones. It's made by Disney after all. All right, and I wanted to connect that because this character is trying to follow the heart, but the mind is helping him, stay in line with more mature decisions, right, of his day. And I was thinking of The Alchemist. I read it a few years ago, and The Alchemist has the character is Santiago, and he's a shepherd, and he's trying to find his purpose or his treasure in life. Even the back of the book has a little quote that reads, "To realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation." So what is your destiny? And so he's trying to figure that out. And I don't think it's a spoiler here, but it's just an interaction that he has, during the book, or in the book, during the story. And he's asking, why do we have to listen to our hearts? And some wise man in here answers, because wherever your heart is, that is where you'll find your treasure. And so your heart wants to go after, things that excite you, things that you feel move you. In this case, for me, is a podcast. Today has been a pretty jam-packed day, and I wanted to record earlier today, and my brain was telling me, you could just record tomorrow. But my heart knows that, I'm trying to get the ball rolling on the podcast. I'm feeling good about it, getting more comfortable in the structure, writing notes down, and, the content around the podcast. And I've been working on like the thumbnails for the YouTube episodes. And I've done a lot of work that I don't want to stop the momentum, which is an episode I was talking about. I was talking about creative momentum a couple of episodes ago. And I don't want to stop it. So the heart right now is in the execution of this idea, this vision that I have for the podcast, and wanting to connect with the audience that'll be on behind the lens or behind the audio wave. And I need to do that by showing up. And so like Santiago, wherever his heart is at, that's where the treasure is at. So I feel that by me, getting on here, getting through, the idea, the thought process, and recording this will give me, the treasure I seek. And for me, I believe that some of that treasure is connection. I talked about, I think it was a couple of episodes ago, that if my podcast can help someone feel like they're not alone in whatever thoughts they're having. And right now it's been like heavy on the creative journey, the creative life. How do you balance all that? How do you balance passion for creativity with, actually being disciplined and thinking through it? And that's a battle in itself. And creatives go through that. And so it's heavy on the creative journey, but I think this could apply to anyone. And if my podcast can help someone feel less lonely in whatever thought they're having, it could be a very light thought or it could be a heavy thought, then I feel that's some treasure. I really think about it that way. And I think that's why I listen to my heart at the beginning of the week. And I'm like, let me just get started. The mind was trying to protect me. And it still is. It's still trying to tell me why, rest is super important, because it is. But it's also trying to tell me how maybe this needs to be structured a lot more. Even now, as I share these thoughts, these ideas, the mind might tell me, hey, you already said that, in previous episodes. And then I'll judge that, and then it'll, stop me from sharing. And so it's active there, but the heart is like, pushing me to do this. And so I think that's where the heart is at when it comes to the creative journey, the creative life, what I'm going through right now. And I wanted to share this project that Sketch and I worked on in 2017. And I think we had checked out this movie, Inner Workings, and we had been talking about it. And, we got to talking about how that might show up during, the day-to-day life in our own creative journey. And we started thinking of, putting this together. So we put the happy Monito, which is the stick figure I use. And in this series, you see that it took on a different look. Sketch and I were collaborating on it. And so we were trying to make it part of that series. And so it changed a bit, but it's there. It's a main character. And then you have two small characters that are around him in the 4 pieces we created for this collab series. And it's the heart and it's the brain. And so the heart is about living in the moment. The heart is excited about, what the character is experiencing. And the brain is analytical. There's one where, the sun is out. And I think that's what the heart is saying. And it's running towards the beach and it's dragging the character along. And sometimes our heart does that. It's like it drags you along into that next journey, that next adventure. And I don't know why I'm sweating. I don't know if it's the lights or whatever, but it drags you into the next adventure, right? And the mind behind it is the brain is sharing, oh, the UV index is at this level today or whatever. And that's what the brain will do. It'll get analytical. And, there's another one where the heart is in the ocean, right? At the beach. And I think it's saying we need to stay here. And the brain is near the character and is pointing at the phone. We should be there. Because sometimes our mind also takes us away from the place we're at to, somewhere away from that, somewhere in the future. And so you don't enjoy the moment, but the heart does enjoy the moment. And so I think, talking about like the battle between the heart and the mind, when we get it to work together, or when I get it to work together, I'll share my experience. When I get it to work together, then that's where I feel I'll find balance and I'll find, some peace, especially on the creative journey. If I know that, my heart is excited about, getting these projects, these ideas that have been in me for a while, and putting them out there. And the mind, is going to try and protect me from that. And trying to, keep me from, maybe feeling that the project is not working out. This podcast is not working out. And it's going to try and battle that. But when I get it to work together and, I show up because, one, I'm excited about it. Let's get the podcast. Let's get these ideas framed out. Let's share, a story around the books that I'm reading, songs, lyrics I'm listening to, things I'm creating. Let's get it out there. And the mind's like, okay, let me frame that out for you. Let me help you frame it out. Let me get you a structure for the story. And I'm counting on that right now. I'm counting on the brain helping me connect, the different things that are in my mind from the book whenever I read it years ago, and right now when I picked it up again, when I was going through the project with Sketch, and then what I remember from the Inner Workings movie, and frame it all together and be able to share a story and tell you a little bit about it. So I'm happy that they are working together right now. It's a constant battle, but this week it's been going good. I think, they've been collaborating and helping me put these ideas together. So that's that. That's what I wanted to share today. I do want to invite you to the happyoscarshow.com. That way you could leave a doodle of a smiley face with your name. And that way you could be part of the digital art canvas. If you heard something today that you think will help someone share the podcast, help it grow. This is day one of the podcast. It's always going to be day one of us trying to build it out. And I appreciate, the support, and thanking whoever at whatever time, whenever you listen, years from now or now, for sharing and just being here, either watching or listening. But I invite you there. That way you could leave a doodle of a smiley face. And, if you want to share something that's bringing you joy right now, for me, the heart working with the mind is bringing me joy because I'm able to create and put these ideas together and release them. And it's bringing me joy. If there's something that's bringing you joy, something that, is positive, or you just got through, a bad moment, an obstacle or anything, but now you're full of joy and you want to share that and you feel it'll connect with someone, dial 956-307-9955. It's a voice message line, so you won't be talking to me, but you can leave a voice message with your story, and you could text as well if you choose to do that. And then I'll tie it to the episodes as I go through my own journey in life, and I want to, frame out ideas and share them. I could tie it in there. And just invite you to stick around so that you can listen to the theme of the show. It's a song that was created by yours truly, by Oscar and the Robots. The name is Every Smile Has a Story. And I'm putting just little clips of me working on stuff, or, photos from the past, just to add a visual element to it. But it'll be tied at the back of the episodes. And that's that. We'll wrap it up there. I think that's it. I don't want to stretch it more than it is. You'll catch me on the next one.
They say you can measure a smile, but never the story behind it. Some were born from joy. Some were built from survival. Listen closely. Listen. Closely. Quiero una historia. Every smile. Every smile. Got a story. Every smile. Every smile. Every smile. Every smile. Every smile.